What's up, guys? Quickly, should have done this before I recorded. She's gonna go hide with that treat now. She's gonna go hide it somewhere completely random. It's gonna be in her crate. Anyway, today I want to talk a little bit about Mortal Kombat 2. It just came out just last week, I want to say, and I went and saw it just a couple days after it released. I will admit I went into it a little excited because personally I felt like after that first movie, the 2021 movie, which I reviewed on the channel, you can check that out whenever you want. It was kind of earlier in my YouTubing life, which it hasn't improved much to this day, but like it definitely is a lot more improved than it was back then. I was recording on like a phone and shit like that. So either way though, I reviewed that movie and I was not too fond of that movie. There were things about that movie that I just could not stand, and I haven't rewatched it even till this day after watching it in theaters that one time. Actually, I might have seen it twice in theaters. I think I did see it twice in theaters with two different people. Regardless, I did not like the Mortal Kombat 2021 film. I didn't think it did really much right at all. There were a couple moments where I was like, oh, cool, fan service, you know, but it wasn't necessarily the tone I was looking for. And it, story-wise, it didn't really hit for me. It didn't really matter as much. Granted, I've said this before, when it comes to Mortal Kombat, like the story is kind of just, it's there. A lot of times it's goofy and it's stupid. It's a video game type movie. You know what I mean? It's a video game story. Like, that's just how it is. It's the same reason I feel like Resident Evil is really hard to adapt to the screen without completely changing it the way like Kreger's doing it. I just think that stories like that are so cheesy, and like it's so hard to get an actual audience to sit down and like dive into that world without already kind of knowing about it and like wanting to see this. So when you're talking like the general like audience of a movie, you're going to get just casuals. You're going to get people that don't play all the Mortal Kombat games, you know? So when it comes to myself, I do play those games. So that's why my interest in it is pretty high. And that's why I was pretty excited to go into these movies in the first place. But also I understand that it's really hard to adapt these to a movie and they can only go so far. I'm just going to say it right now. It's not that good. It's really not. It's serviceable. It's got a lot of fanfare to it. You know, there's some moments that'll like I said, fanfare there. Like, and when I say that, I mean like there's moments where classic MK likers, I was like, whoa, that's funny, that's cool. I'll admit, like they did a lot of like really good fan service in this movie. Like it's definitely the best Mortal Kombat movie we've ever had. And I'm somebody who always thought the first one in the 90s was like my favorite one. It had the best music, and I still think it does have better music than this one. I don't want to compare a 90s movie to this movie. I'm just simply saying that the MK 90 movie I used to hold at high regard. Like I really did. And then Annihilation pooped the bed. It was really, really bad. And then the 2021 movie was just in between. It didn't really matter that much to me whatsoever. With this one, with MK2, I will say it is the best Mortal Kombat movie we've ever gotten. But unfortunately, that's not saying much because it's not very good. It's just, it reminds me of the Venom movies where it's just kind of blah. It's just blah. It's dry, and it doesn't really do much like great for the franchise whatsoever, besides the fact that it's fun fan service. That's really all it is. And when it comes to video game movies, they're hard to adapt. Like they're very hard to adapt, and like they tried with this. Like you could tell, like it's the same director, Simon McQuoid, I think his name is. I don't really know him all that well. I just know him for these movies, and I think I can see what kind of director he is. It's really just like, you know, kind of bad scripts and just kind of, you know, put something together and hopefully it matches what the studio and what the gamers want from it. It's not all that great. It's just not. And it's hard for me to sit here and like, you know, come up with a reason why it's good, because it doesn't have much besides the fact that it does really good fan service. And, you know, it's solid. Like it's a solid like action movie. It's a solid like 90s style action movie. Just not as cringy, I would say. You know, you go back and you watch like Mortal Kombat original, and then you watch like the Annihilation, and it's just so fucking cheesy. It's really hard to watch at times because it's just like, oh my god, like this is mental. This is ridiculously bad writing. A lot of times in MK2 there is some bad moments. There are some really bad moments like that where it's like, oh my god, why did they write this? Like, what was the point in this? But it's not as egregious as like a late 80s 90s style like action movie would be. I think this movie is perfect if you are bringing. I think everybody's dad is gonna love this movie. It's more fast paced than that first movie, the 2021 movie. I'm gonna try not to just compare it to the 90s movies anymore at all. When I say Mortal Kombat 1, I'm meaning the one that came out in 2021, the one that is technically the prologue to this movie, to this movie's sequel. So, you know, I'm just going to compare those two at this point because it is the same director. It's the same movies in a row. It's got the same like issues though as that 2021 film. And it's just feels like it's more of a cosplay, you know, like just bad actors in like just like cool outfits, I suppose, that match the game as much as they can, but they don't. Oh, my cat is mad. Yeah, it just kind of feels like bad actors just dressed as like the game characters, and it's supposed to just like trigger something in your brain. And there are certain moments where it does, where you're like, oh, that's his suit, that's his outfit from MK2, or that's his whatever, that's that ability from Mortal Kombat 3. You know what I mean? Just shit like that. It does that well, but like in reality, like the actors are so poorly put into this movie. Like majority of the actors, at least, who play the characters, like for example, Kung Lao. I don't really think that guy's that. He does, maybe the martial arts fits, but like him as the character just does not fit to me for some reason. I don't know what it is. It's very similar to a couple other characters in this movie that I have a problem with. I'll talk about those in a moment. But all in all, I feel like the actors just aren't the right fit for the movie. But you know, they try. You know, like they definitely like tried to find people that are like similar to the characters. When it comes to like the main star here of this movie was Carl Urban. Carl Urban, you know, Butcher from The Boys. He's playing Johnny Cage in this movie. And originally, I will admit, I was like, I don't know how the fuck he's going to play Johnny Cage unless he's like an old man. You know what I mean? Because like Carl Urban is kind of older now. You know, he's not going to be doing crazy stunts and shit like that. Not like the backflips that Johnny Cage does and all the crazy shit that he's known for. But he does well. He does really well. And he does play an older Johnny Cage. So like you're pretty much following this movie's main character is definitely Johnny Cage. Like it's definitely like kind of a rehash of that original Mortal Kombat movie. Where it's like Sonya, Raiden, Liu Kang, and Johnny Cage, like kind of trying to get through the tournament together and shit like that. Like it's very simple, and like I will admit, like the movie gets going pretty quick. You know, it gets right to the action for the most part, and unfortunately for that, like the action's just not all that good. It's very poorly choreographed. Like that's the one thing I took away from this movie that I really didn't like was the choreography looked really bad. Like it didn't. You know, there were like 2 fight scenes, I would say, and there's a lot of fight scenes, so I'll give them that. There's a lot of fight scenes, so you're not going to walk out of this movie going, oh man, like you're not talking about some of the fight scenes, because there's quite a few of them. The problem is like they're so like poorly choreographed, like they're just so poorly like put together, like they're so cut up, and it just takes away from the fighting of the whole thing. Like I'm a really big, like I like martial arts movies. I really do. I'm more into like The Matrix. You know, I like movies that have good fight scenes. The Raid, that's really fun. Like that's a really good one. And I'll admit, like speaking of The Raid, there are like maybe 2 fight scenes in this movie out of like, I don't know. I'm just going to throw a number out there. I think there was like 8 fight scenes, let's say, 8 different fights that happened. And out of all those fights, I'd say 2 of them were really well done. Like we're talking really well done. Like I would suggest going and seeing it in IMAX or looking up the scene on YouTube. That's how good these scenes were. There's one between Liu Kang and Kung Lao, and that one is etched in my memory because it was so well choreographed, and like the actors were into it, and it was so well, like the pacing of the camera was really good. The pace of the fight was really good. You could feel the electricity. I forgot to mention, I did see this in IMAX. I don't normally go to IMAX for movies, not anymore at least. But it was just convenient timing, and it was cheaper because it was on like a certain time or whatever. But yeah, I thought it was fine in IMAX. I thought it was fine. I thought, you know, it's good enough in IMAX to solidify an IMAX purchase, even though they're extremely expensive now for IMAX tickets on normal days. I felt like it was worth the 13 or 14 bucks that I paid, I want to say, to get in. Good sound and all that stuff. But what I was going into the IMAX thing about is because the fight scenes were amplified by the IMAX, obviously. And that Liu Kang and Kung Lao fight, for example, there's moments in this movie, and that's going to be the general issue with this movie, is it's very split down the middle. It's very split down the middle, and I'll elaborate on that in a moment. But just to give you some context here on what I'm talking about with 50-50 here, split down the middle, this fight scene is everything right. Like, it's everything right about the movie. Tone, pacing, cinematography, the actors, the acting, you know, like the way the scene was portrayed, the way it looked, the setting, it was very cool. It was so well done that it was like, I was like, how could the other fight scenes be so bad? Like, this is such a good fight scene to have in the middle of the movie. and like you have like Johnny Cage and Sonya fighting, like they're like the first big fight of the movie, and like one of the first big fights in the tournament at least. And it is so poorly choreographed. It's insane. It's like everything that was good about the Kung Lao Liu Kang fight was completely twisted a 180 degree. And they just said, yeah, let's do it all the wrong way, pretty much. That's exactly how majority of the fights felt. And that's what I mean by there's like a 50-50 split here, where like for a couple moments in the movie, the tone is really good and it matches the characters and it's just flowing really well. And then for another half of it, it thinks it's like this serious drama and it tries to get deeper and deeper and deeper. And one of those moments I would say was when Scorpion was brought in. I'm sorry, I'm going to try not to spoil much. I haven't seen the movie in like 3 or 4 days and I'm starting to forget things about it. So I am seeing it again with another group of people. This was a movie I already knew I'd see multiple times. So I'm going to go see it a second time. And when I do, I'm going to do a spoiler review where I talk deeper about everything. So I apologize if any of this feels like it's a spoiler, but it's a lot of this is in the trailer. Like Scorpion's in the trailer. Like he's kind of like the poster boy. You have to have him in the movie to sell it to a lot of people. With Scorpion, for example, with like the whole like deeper and deeper thing, he's barely in the movie. Like he comes into the movie at like just this random moment where they're like, oh, the pacing's bad, we need to get Scorpion involved now. They bring him in, and I'm totally like into like the actor who plays Hanzo, who plays Scorpion. I can't say his name right now, I don't remember it, but it's the Shogun guy, and he's a fantastic actor, fantastic for martial arts movies. Like he's just a really fun guy to watch on the screen when he's playing the characters he should be playing. Hanzo is a good character. Like Scorpion's a good character for him. Unfortunately, this way they are portraying Scorpion, he's like this hunchback old man, and he's like, he just looks slow. He just looks slow, and his face isn't like, he doesn't have like the white eyes like he's undead. He just looks too, I don't know what they try to do, but he looks like an old man. Like I don't, like Scorpion, he just, I don't know, like you throw him into the movie and then you have him go, get over here. Like it just feels so gimmicky, and it feels like such like a grab. I would rather if you like teased him and not had him in this movie and then had him in the third movie or something, and then I'd be more hyped for him. But instead they wasted a whole fucking like segment on him fighting Noob Saibot, who is technically Sub-Zero from the Undead or whatever, you know what I mean? And like, you would think these two characters, like these are two fan favorite characters. Like there's like a, you know, there's everybody loves every character in MK, but like, in my opinion, like I've been playing Mortal Kombat since like Mortal Kombat, Ultimate Mortal Kombat. I know that Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile, you know, Ermac, fucking Smoke, Noob Saibot, these are characters that people want to see. These are characters that people love, you know, but like these are characters that people are like, I'm going to see this movie to see my favorite character. These are my favorite characters. And it just feels like some of these characters just get absolutely butchered. Like the whole process of them gets absolutely butchered. And one of them was Noob Saibot and Scorpion. It was just like, hey, get Scorpion over here so he can guide us through the underworld. And right when we get to the underworld, there's Noob Saibot. He's going to go fight him really quick now. And it's just, there's no pacing involved. It doesn't make sense. Like he's like, they come to him and they're like, we need to go to Netherrealm or Netherworld or whatever, which is hell. And they're like, we need a guide. And you're automatically like, Scorpion. So they go and they find Scorpion. He's like trimming some like blossoms or something. And he's like, stop, leave me alone or whatever, leave me alone. And then like, they're like, but we need you, Hanzo. We need to get through the underworld. And he goes, and Sub-Zero will be there because he's dead. And it's just like, okay, like, okay. It's like, we know you watched the trailer. Here comes Noob Saibot. It's just like, I don't know. It just didn't feel natural to me. It didn't feel like it took time for him to process why he wanted to still fight Sub-Zero, even in the underworld. In reality, in the games, he's like, I want to not only kill him in real life, but I want to fucking kill him in the underworld. And in this, he was just like, yeah, I'll go. Yeah, that sounds fun. Yeah, I'll be your tour guide. And then like he gets down there and he just starts, it's just CGI. It's just nonstop CGI of them fighting. And like, granted, Noob Saibot's a character. He's like, you're not going to like portray him without some CGI. It looked awful though. It just looked awful, and it only lasted like 30 seconds. And then it was like a time in bed with me, man. It was just awful. It was nothing. I don't know. And that just disappoints me because that's just one of those things that sticks with me. Maybe when I rewatch the movie, maybe that will be better, but it just felt like another lackluster fight scene. Another character I really like that got really fucked up in this movie was Quan Chi. Quan Chi's like this necromancer who works for the bad guy, and he resurrects people and like kind of like remodel, what is the word for it? He like reanimates them to come back as revenants and like monsters of themselves. That's how Mortal Kombat gets away with like bringing characters back to life after a horrifying fatality or something like that. You know, this is just their way of doing it. It's whatever. This guy, he's a cool character. Normally he's known in Mortal Kombat, especially I know in Mortal Kombat 4 because I played that one a lot on 64. It's a terrible game, but Quan Chi in Mortal Kombat 4, he's known for his fatality. He rips your fucking leg off and he beats you with your own leg. It's fucking awesome. This character in this movie will never do that. He will never do that because he looks like the little fucker from 300, the I forget his name, but the hunchback guy that like
to make spear and shield and sword as much a part of me as my own beating heart. I will earn my father's armor, noble king, by serving you in the battle.
I want to be a Spartan too, Leonidas.
You know, he's like all fucked up. Leonidas is like, oh fuck. He's pretty much, Quan Chi's pretty much that guy. He's just like this. It's just awful. It's just an awful, because Quan Chi is one of those characters that later on in the story, like he does become kind of like a sub boss, like a main sub boss to go through. And it's just, he conjures shit up. He does crazy shit with Shang Tsung. And speaking of Shang Tsung, he got his ass beat in the first movie. And then in this one, he's just kind of like, just all the time, every time they show him, he's just like, you're like, am I supposed to know what he's doing right now? Like, am I supposed to know, like, is he gonna go like find the amulet to get Shinnok out? Like what's the next step here for Shang Tsung? Because he's just kind of a throwaway character in this movie, and they kind of wasted him in the first one too. It's like everything was wasted in the first movie, and then they brought this one, and they were like, well, we got to introduce Johnny Cage, we got to get the Mortal Kombat guys together. Let's just throw everything in at once. And it just, I don't know, something about it just didn't feel right tone wise, pacing wise. It felt very bad. And I'm somebody like, I can watch a movie if it's got a really good story and bad action. And I can also watch it if it's got really good action and a bad story. Less so, but I'll still watch it. This movie didn't really do either all that well. It just did really good fan service, and it was funny at times. Like it kept bringing me back in with its humor. And I will say, like I said, Johnny Cage is really fun in this movie. Carl Urban does a really good job. I think everybody does fine, you know, for the main characters at least. Like Sonya's good, Jax is good. You know, there's everybody gets their time in the sun, I would say, but like it just felt off. Like the movie just felt off. Without spoiling things, it just felt off. It felt like amateur hour. Like that's what it felt like. And I still like, even though it's I guess ironic, even though this is the best Mortal Kombat we've ever had, I don't think that's a high bar. You know, it's really not. It's not a high bar because they're all kind of just mediocre. They are. And I care about this franchise. I want them to make cool movies out of them. Am I asking for a Christopher Nolan trilogy? No, but I am asking for something that's not so just like on the nose. Like, I don't know. I just don't know. I still to this day think that maybe an animated show would be better for like portraying the entire Mortal Kombat series. I'm not sure. I'm cool with the fan service stuff. I think it's fine. And I think a lot of people are really going to dig it. I think a lot of people are going to, especially kids, I think kids are going to like the gore. The gore, which is, obviously I should have talked about that first. The gore is, it's hit or miss, man. Like it feels like there's certain moments where they try to keep characters alive so they don't do the fatalities like to a full extent. There are a couple here though that are like surprising, like one of the first fight scenes, somebody gets a spike through their fucking head and it was like, whoa, like it was out of nowhere. Somebody gets their head chopped into little pieces. That was kind of cool, but it looked really CGI. They're just, some of the fight scenes were so poorly choreographed that it was just like, I don't even know, like I expected them to do nothing, and that's kind of what happened. Like a lot of the fatalities were just nothing. It was just like there. Something that I really liked about this movie that's going to be memorable for me forever. It's weird because it's really smart to do this, but they never use it other than the one time. And one bad thing about this movie was, like I said, the choreography and the fights is really bad. And for most of them, at least. The ones that were good though were good because of the camera work, because of the way they tried to make it more into a game than they were trying to make just a cut for cut action movie. That is one problem with this movie, is that it feels like it's like cut too much. Like there's too many moments where it's like a punch will be swung and then it cuts to another thing happening. And it's just like, if you would just give me a raid style, like fight scene where it's just like, I'm watching it from the side, like I'm in the room watching it from a side perspective and these guys are like just blow for blow going at each other. I would have enjoyed the fights in this movie way more. Like I really would have. I think they all could have been really good. And that's what I was saying about like the Kung Lao Liu Kang fight, for example. That one just flows so well where it feels like it's like a full on like one cut fight. Whereas all the other fights really in the movie feel like they're cut up really bad, like an old action movie. Like you can tell, like they're like, or throw a punch, cut, throw a punch, cut. And it's just, it gets really annoying because you can tell that's kind of what's happening. There's a part in this movie though that really stuck with me and I really liked it because, and it was a part where Johnny Cage is going to fight Baraka. Again, sorry about spoilers. It was in the trailer. They're about to fight each other though. And the build up to the fight is really cheesy. It's really shitty, really cheesy. But once it gets to the fight, the camera pans out a little bit. And then the borders on the screen go like this. As soon as they both like get in their stances to get ready, you know, like almost like the like in the game where it's like fight, like it like literally like raised the borders and then they started like flowing in a fight. Granted, that fight didn't like go exactly how I would want it to go all the way through, but it was an example of what they didn't do throughout the whole movie that would have made this movie maybe way better, to be honest with you. Because again, I've said this before and I've said it in the review. I'm going to say it in the review. I can watch good action if the story sucks. I actually expect the story to suck. So it's really whatever when it sucks. It's really when they try to make a story happen and then they pace it out terribly and it just does not matter to me. Like that's the big problem. And then when you add in poorly put together fight scenes, it feels like a waste of time sometimes. Now, when they did that with that fight scene, I lost it, dude. I was like, oh my God, it's just like the games. And it was so cool looking in IMAX specifically because you're seeing such a big screen go and open up. And it just looked like the games. Like it looked like you were playing the games. And I felt like with all the fan service in this movie, all the moments where the characters do the moves that they do in the games, which is really cool. They do that. Why didn't you make the fights more like a 2D fighter? Like, why didn't you like give us the perspective of the gamer? Like, why didn't you do that more often? Why didn't you give us those moments? It just felt like a lot of the tone in this movie was 50-50. And I don't know. It was really hard for me to get like a full grip on what I liked about this movie because there's a mixture of things that I liked, but it just didn't cohesively go together fully. And it almost makes it hard for me to like the things that I feel like I liked about it because the bad things suck so bad at times. It pulls those good things down. I know it sounds crazy, but that's kind of how I feel about like just in general the movie. All in all though, I don't know. I didn't love this movie. You know, obviously I didn't love it that much. It's worth rewatching with your boys. Like if you're just bored and you want to watch the Mortal Kombat movies, these are the best versions of Mortal Kombat we're going to get probably for a long time. I mean, it's got an $80 million budget and that's with marketing and stuff. And it's made its money back within the week. So that's pretty good. There's going to be a third movie. There's no after credit scenes at all. I heard it was because they were trying to chop up stuff and they just kind of pulled things because they didn't know what was going to happen next. But they do want to do 4 movies altogether. From the beginning, that's what they said they want to do is 4 movies. I think they're doing Mortal Kombat 1, 2, Ultimate, and then Mortal Kombat 4. I think that's like I think they're leading up to Shinnok, for example. I think he's going to be the next big bad guy. Sorry to spoil that. They didn't really indicate that at all in this movie. There was no indication on the future, but they did end the movie cheesy as fuck, like trying to kind of like hint that like we got more to do, you know what I mean? Like they kind of did that almost exactly. You know, this movie has probably the best like 90s vibes you're gonna get. You know, it's very much like an old school like 90s like action movie. You know, it's just straightforward. It works. You know, it works. It's gonna make money and it works. I'm not saying this movie sucks because it doesn't like suck, especially not as bad as that 2021 or Annihilation, but it's just not great. You know what I mean? It's just not great. And we live in a world where like if everything else sucks and this one's okay, then it must be the best and it must be the greatest. It is the best one out of the 4 we've had so far. But I think the third movie might be better than this movie, for example. You know, I think they're just going to keep getting better and better, but not get any better than like a 7 out of 10. You know, like they're all going to still be average, but they're going to just get better at being average each time. And maybe they'll listen to the fans and do some shit that like I'm interested in as well. And maybe it'll make me like them a little bit more. But all in all, it's really just really trying to like kind of take your nostalgia. That's really all it's trying to do. It's not like pushing anything. It's not like, I think, for example, and this might sound crazy because I don't play like I don't play like Mortal Kombat religiously, and I don't play Street Fighter religiously. I played them a lot as a kid. I still watch a lot of tournaments and I watch people play these games all the time. So I'm still in the loop, but I have to say, like, I think the Street Fighter movie is going to do more as a movie and for the fans than this movie. So like, I don't know if that means anything to you, but I feel like Street Fighter in its first attempt here, like in this new modern era, it's going to blow it out of the park. And you can quote me on that if you want to. I'll take it on the chin, whatever. I think that movie will do more in that one movie than these Mortal Kombat movies have done in the 2 movies so far. I think that Street Fighter movie is going to have more just like glamour and fun to it, more reason to go watch it a second time, if that makes sense. Either way though, I'm going to give this Mortal Kombat a 7 out of 10. It's just all right. I think I'm being a little generous. Like I originally walked out thinking it was a 6. But I gave the original movie, the 2021 movie, I gave it a 5.5. So this one is definitely better than that movie. And I have to admit that it is better in almost every single way. I think the only thing that's not as good in this movie is it feels like they wasted Cole Young's character a little bit. Like they didn't know what they were doing. And granted, I'm cool with it, but they wasted him in this movie. And by wasted, you'll get what I mean when you watch it. Like he's just not really used whatsoever. And then like the Scorpion and Sub-Zero stuff was really the only thing I liked about the original movie, and even those sucked. So you know, when it comes down to it, I mean, this movie's better. It is better. It does a lot better. Carl Urban is better. Oh, I forgot to mention Kano. Kano's in this again, and he steals the show almost always in this movie. And it's kind of funny. Carl Urban and him are both Australian, so it's kind of funny to, you know, Carl Urban's acting like an American, but he's actually Australian as fuck. And it's just funny, like him working with another Australian who's definitely an Australian. You know, it's just something about that is fun. I will say Kano is the best character besides Johnny Cage. Him and Johnny Cage were like the best characters in the whole movie. Sorry, I know this is going long. I keep forgetting stuff, but I will say there's 3 characters that I really liked, and that's going to be Johnny Cage, Kano, and Baraka were fantastic. They were absolutely fantastic. I have no idea what the fuck they're doing with Jade. I have no idea what they were doing with Jax in this movie, even though I liked the way I like Jax in general, and I like the actor who's playing him. I just didn't understand what they were doing with him whatsoever. Raiden, I think stinks. I like the actor and everything, but I don't like his acting for this role. Same with the first movie. But yeah, Quan Chi was terrible. Shao Kahn was really good. I actually really like Shao Kahn. They gave him really like a lot of personality, a little bit more depth. He reminded me of like a Thanos in a way. He was fun. I liked him. He was a good bad guy. He was the most like 80s style bad guy you'll ever see, but he had depth, and that was really nice. The guy who plays him is cool too. So I thought they did well by him. I thought they did terrible. Jade, like I said, Kitana, she's kind of the main character of this movie. Her and Johnny Cage are definitely the main characters. But Kitana, this is about her. It's like Mortal Kombat 2 style. So it's like, it's kind of about her and like, you know, getting Johnny Cage involved as well. I don't know. I don't remember how all the Mortal Kombat story goes, but I know like Mortal Kombat 2 was pretty loved, you know, I would say. So they did a good job, I think, for like the historians, for like the people who like are into the Mortal Kombat lore. I think it was fun. You know what I mean? It was fun enough to just be like, okay, turn your brain off, have a good time with it. But I'm not into this tone of movie. I'm not into what they did with some of the characters. I don't love it. But I will say the dynamic between Johnny Cage and Baraka is hilarious. They're like just, they bounce off each other really well. And I know it sounds weird, but when you watch the movie, you'll love it. And the way Baraka looks, the aesthetic is really good. They did a really good job with some of the shit they put on the guy's face, or the prosthetics and stuff like that. But they did a good job. And then when Kano gets thrown into the mix, him and Johnny Cage bounce off each other really well. The only problem is it feels like Kano almost overshadows Johnny Cage. But I like Kano, so it's really whatever to me. All in all, though, it's a 7. It's a 7. I mean, it's all right. It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. Either way, this turned into a little bit of a yap session because I kind of forgot a lot of stuff. Appreciate you guys watching. Go Hawks. We will see you guys for... I don't know what my next video is going to be, but it's probably going to be a Punisher One Last Kill review. So stay tuned for that. Bye, guys. Love you.